Rogue One, arguably the greatest Star Wars movie of all time. That's right, possibly better than the originals. We'll find out today, guys, because we are talking about it on Vouch for Me. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Eric West. With me, I have PapaNasty.
Hey.
And off grabbing an energy drink is Abelhalm Lincoln, but we'll reintroduce him when he gets back. So this was PapaNasty's pick.
Yes, it was.
Why'd you pick it? What do you think?
I think it's for recent Star Wars films, it's the best. Will I say it's the best overall Star Wars film? We have to see because Mandalorian movie will be out soon. But currently, I would say yes, it is.
Okay.
It's the best Star
welcome
Wars
back, Abelhalm Lincoln. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Yeah. This is our Star Wars lore nerd in addition to PapaNasty. I really do think this is going to be the PapaNasty and Abelhalm Lincoln show. And I don't know if we okay, I want you guys to start talking about this movie and I will start interjecting a little bit. They did something different with this one, right? It's more of a war movie than the traditional pace that they do most of the films.
It's the best way to describe it. So, like, the general best way to describe Star Wars as a franchise is that, contrary to what you might think, it is not a sci-fi franchise. It is a fantasy movie set in space.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue One puts this more at, like, the ground level, little nitty-gritty. It's a straight-up war movie that happens to take place in space.
Yeah. With a splash of romance. But before we do anything, Eric, you were openly shitting on Star Wars to me and Mr. M. Lincoln.
Specifically this movie, because there's one thing he always likes to cite as his reason for hating it. It's one of the dumbest reasons too. Like, I get why, but at the same time, it's so dumb that...
Just the...
Go on.
Oh, yeah, the whole concept of... Once somebody told me if you replace the word the Force with the plot, it fucking makes sense and it fucking ruins every movie.
Shut up.
No, the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, even in this movie, the whole time, you have the...
Use the plot, Luke.
No, yeah, I know. Am I wrong, though? No, whoever cooked that up, bro, they knew exactly what they were talking about. I'm trying to look for the character in particular who...
Chirrut.
The blind guy?
Chirrut. Yeah, Chirrut, played by Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yep.
Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen, bad motherfucker.
Who also plays another blind guy in John Wick 4.
Yep.
Oh my God. Yep, you're right. I forgot about that. Dude, Chirrut, his whole thing was, I'm one with the...
He's a monk.
I'm one with the plot. The plot is with me. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro. You need to shut it down. Shut it down.
I'll talk about Chirrut in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get cooking with everything. These are the two absolute and utter Star Wars fanboys of all time. I like the concept a lot, and I really understand this movie in terms of world building, in terms of the feats that it took to make this movie. But man, was this a fucking boring movie? God damn. I hated every second of it. I had to fight the urge to just sit down and fucking play Balatro on my phone the whole time.
This guy made us watch Talk to Me?
Yeah. Which was an incredible movie. Fuck you.
No, what the fuck? Are you smoking crack here? What's in that fucking cup?
What a fun concept. The funnest concept of this film is the fact that they made an entire movie to cover up a plot hole from the first movie, which was, why was there a big old hole in the Death Star in the first place? And then they're like, wait, whoa. Let me cook. I'm gonna write a script. It's gonna fix the whole movie.
And it successfully did.
I mean, if you think about the logistics of attacking the Death Star head on, it was an extremely unrealistic scenario for someone to ever even try to fly a aircraft down that trench, let alone throw a torpedo into the Death Star and blow up the whole damn thing. It was the hubris of the Empire and a combination of sheer dumb luck that it even worked out.
Yeah, in addition to, they actually had a man on the inside all along, which makes more sense. What's great about this movie is that they bring a little bit more realism to the Star Wars universe, if you will. Like, strategically, it makes a little bit more sense.
Some moral ambiguity.
Exactly. But yeah, they give you more things to work with. And so when you go back to watch A New Hope, you can watch it in a new light because now you're like, oh, wow, like, holy shit. Yeah, these are the events leading up to A New Hope. And so it even makes it play better than it did, even though that was such a groundbreaking movie when A New Hope came out.
I am just baffled right now at Eric's bullshit right now. So
That's okay. I
Here we
can
go.
I can both positively say there are a lot of fascinating and incredible things about this movie, and I can also say that I was bored while watching it. Like those are both true statements.
True. Compared to the other films, where would you rank it then?
I honestly remember watching this movie in the theater. Abel, I think we went and saw it together.
Yeah, I think so too.
This one and then a bunch of the other ones. The Star Wars franchise as a whole, I've never enjoyed it. I tried so many times.
There are two kinds of people in the world. There's Lord of the Rings kids and there's Star Wars kids, and he's a Lord of the Rings kid, which admittedly were far better movies.
But no, regardless, I'm not even trying to shit on this movie. I'm not trying to compare anything. I always like the concept of, what is it, the metachlorian?
Midichlorians. The thing about Star Wars is a lot of it's great in concept. Sometimes the execution falls flat.
And I think this was a great execution as well, like in terms of war movies and everything along those lines. Like, but I did have to take notes while watching the movie to keep up with the different planets that were introduced. At the very least, it's only the rebels versus the Empire, but there's still different factions of the there's the rogue rebels that broke off. Even in the Empire itself, you have the guy who's in command, but then there's somebody that used to be in command or wants command, and Darth Vader kind of gave it to him. Exactly. We'll talk about that more
that in a bit.
Exactly. I was trying to look at this movie as, what if I never saw a Star Wars movie before? Would I be able to sit down and watch this movie? And I was like, it is a good standalone film, and if anything, a lot of the information is Easter eggs. That's like, ooh, if you know about the first movie, you'll know that this guy's face was CGI'd onto this guy, and that's why he's supposed to be this person. And you're like, oh, that's crazy.
That's why his face is uncanny valley as fuck.
I thought it was creepy, but I honestly didn't even know at the time. I just knew at the end somebody else's face was CGI'd on. And even looking back on it, it doesn't look bad. I'm like, people give it a lot of shit.
I know for me, it looked worse now than it did before. And I was like, I don't know if it's because I'm actually looking more closely at it. But when I first saw it, I didn't think much of it. But now I'm like, oh God, his face just looks so weird.
Yeah, it does look a little bit off, but no, it doesn't look bad. I mean, compared to the fucking... how they did like season 2, the ending of Mandalorian, where they did like Luke Skywalker. It looks a lot better than that.
It's looks so fucking bad. I hate it.
That was so bad.
Well, we'll talk about the Mandalorian another time.
Eric, going off topic.
Rogue One budget of $200 to $280 million, which puts it at one of the most expensive movies of all time. That's cited on Wikipedia. And so I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. But then when I looked into the list, and I'm like, there's a long list before you even get to Rogue One, guys. Because that's at 280 million, which puts it about there. But there's 17 movies above it. The number one movie of all time in terms of how much it cost to make was Star Wars The Force Awakens for $447 million.
Damn.
I wonder how much of that was Harrison Ford's salary.
Actually, sometimes I wonder that on some of these bigger films is how much. And then for Star Wars,
I mean, have you seen how much they were paying Robert Downey Jr. to come back as Doctor Doom? Like, that's an entire movie's budget.
Dude, Force Awakens made $2 billion.
Yeah. It's Star Wars.
They knew what they were working with, dude.
It was the first Star Wars movie in like over a decade. Force Awakens came out 2015, I think. Revenge of the Sith was in like 2005. It was a monumental thing at the time.
Guys, can I do a little Force Awakens tangent
Go ahead.
for a clip? Okay, there was a guy I was beefing with when I worked at this warehouse. I mean, this guy would always go back and forth. I won't say his name, but yeah, me and him were always talking shit to each other. He was always fucking with me, and we would just go back and forth because I was like, 20 at the time, or 19, working in a warehouse. Anyways, this piece of shit would always fuck with my stuff. I had to go fuck with his stuff. Back when we were at Ace. So we all had each other's number, and I spoiled the ending of Force Unleashed.
The Force Awakens or the Force Awakens?
Yeah, with fucking Force Awakens, excuse me. With the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Because being able, we're talking about Force Unleashed. But the Force Awakens, with how fucking Han Solo dies, I was like, hey bro, I texted him, we should really make it, call a truce. We should try to get along. Hey, also Han Solo dies, you're a piece of shit, go fuck yourself.
You're a bad man. That's incredible.
He was like, I'm gonna fucking fuck your shit up. I see you, because we drove on pallet riders, so we drive around. But yeah, he fucking, ironically, I had nothing to do with this. He just sucked at his fucking job. The next week he got fired for not pulling his weight because Ace, the way it worked.
I guess you were one with the Force, and the Force was with
The
you,
Force,
dude.
yes.
Apparently,
Oh my
let's
God.
go.
But yeah, no. So when you say that movie, it holds a special place in my heart.
If we go back to 2016 in film, okay, so obviously this must have ranked really high then. Dude, 2016 was an insane year. I had no idea. We're looking at top of the charts. Disney made a fucking killing. Okay, so top 5 movies were all Disney movies, and most of them actually made $1 billion.
Damn.
I'll start from the bottom working up. We got Suicide Squad for Warner Brothers. It made 746. Deadpool for 20th Century Fox, which made 782. And then for Warner Bros, they were cooking. They got Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, as well as Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, The Secret Life of Pets, Universal, whatever. And then now the rest of it is all Disney. The Jungle Book made $966 million. Zootopia made $1,023 million. Finding Dory, $1,028 million. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, did $1,056 million. And then who beat that out? But of course, Captain America Civil War, $1,153 million. Holy fucking shit, guys. They put some blood, sweat, and tears. They made some investments. Disney, because they have so much money,
all downhill from there.
Agree. Yeah.
Shut your trash mouth, Eric, you fucking...
Disney, with all their money, though, they can take some of these movies to heights that they've never reached before. Because even for Rogue One, everywhere that they filmed in Iceland, they filmed in England, like they filmed all over the goddamn world to get the feel of different planets. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, they do that. Even as far back as the original movie, they filmed it in like Tatooine was in like Africa or something. And I remember reading this fun fact about how in the beginning of New Hope, when C-3PO and R2-D2 were trouncing around the wastes of the Tatooine desert, they passed by the bones of what is supposed to be a crate dragon. It was logistically such a pain in the ass to get those fake bones out there that they left them there. So fans would journey out there to Africa in the desert to go find those bones and take pictures with them.
That's fucking badass. That's insane, dude. I love that. I just, the concept of it all. It almost turns it into like an ARG or one of those like GeoQuest type things. That's awesome as fuck.
Oh yeah, a lot of fans like to go visit these very specific places in Italy where Naboo is supposed to be. Just like take pictures of where like, hey, this scene was shot here or something. Like, oh, this is where Anakin said, I don't like sand. It gets everywhere.
Well, what's the classic? But I just wanted to go to Tashi Station and get some power converters.
It's a common place for people to take their girlfriends to go propose to them in Italy, apparently.
That's what's up. They have a new hope for their relationship. I respect it.
Speaking of Tashi Station, there's this picture Mark Hamill posted on Twitter years ago where he was outside this gas station called Tashi Station, apparently, and he was holding power converters in his hands. Like all these years later, he finally did it.
That kind of reminds me of last night. Me and PapaNasty, we did something that rhymes with teriyaki, and let's just say it was a good night.
Wait, how did she and a group of people bukkake you? That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, I just did. God damn it, Eric! Don't you fucking don't you ask these questions?
Yeah, I'm crazy.
I sent you the link. Now shut the fuck up.
Thank you.
I also want to mention that this movie was directed by Gareth Edwards, who also previously notably directed Godzilla 2014.
Yes,
Ooh,
exactly.
okay.
I was trying to remember where I heard that name from, and then yeah, but like you're saying, dude, Godzilla, that's pretty cool. He's only got 5 movies under his belt for directing, so he just made his money and fucking ducked the fuck out. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch. I think it was one of his first movies, or it is his first movie. It's called Monsters.
Yep.
Apparently, Gareth Edwards' signature thing is he likes to like take horror movie angles with like creatures in his movies, like the way he depicts them and stuff like that. He did that with Godzilla by like minimizing how much screen time he had, but when he did, like Godzilla was always badass in screen time. And some people feel he did the same thing with the way Darth Vader is handled in this movie.
Oh yeah, you could say that until you. I definitely feel that way until Darth Vader drops. Until he drops a one-liner, and I'm like, oh my god, the don't choke on your aspirations. I was like, are you joking right now? Is this Darth Vader, bro? What's going on?
Vader's always had one-liners. He's always had one-liners.
It didn't sound like him. That Darth Vader version, I was like, what the fuck? That doesn't sound like the James Earl Jones. Like, it sounded a little bit wonky, which is weird because he was a liver.
It is James Earl Jones.
No, I know that, but just it didn't sound like him compared to other versions. Like, I don't know what it was.
He's always had one-liners, not necessarily puns, but he's always had one-liners.
Did you have a kyber crystal the whole fucking time and not become a Force user?
She's not a Force user. It's just a kyber crystal necklace.
Couldn't she have made it into a lightsaber?
Yeah, but she wouldn't be able to use it.
Why?
Yeah, you have to.
Because she's not a Jedi.
Yeah.
So you can't fucking turn it on?
So the thing about lightsabers is they are horribly impractical weapons for people that are not sensitive to the Force.
She's pretty good with the blaster, though.
Yeah, that's what matters. More often than not, a blaster is more practical to your average wayman in the Star Wars universe. Because one of the key things about being able to use the Force is precognition. You're able to like perceive things before they happen, which is why they're able to block blaster bolts and stuff like that. So just because she has the ability to create a lightsaber does not mean it is a practical thing for her to actually use.
Yeah, I'd be like trying to use the Chidori without having the
Sharingan.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah,
Beautiful reference.
it was a horribly impractical jutsu for Kakashi
Also,
prior to getting the Sharingan.
Did they imply that they used a bunch of kyber crystals to make the Death Star?
Yes.
They explicitly stated it.
That's
Yeah, what the
fucking
fuck?
cool,
You know-
dude. That's crazy.
Hey, check your fucking notes, dirtbag. I'm kidding.
This guy,
I was a little aggressive.
no,
I'm sorry.
PapaNasty's so butthurt because I'm not 100% for this movie.
No, I'm not buttered. I'm just,
Dude,
we talked about
dude,
taste.
I've seen the hair on the back of your forearm rising ever since I said it was boring.
Yeah, so speaking of lore things, I'm going to lore dump right now anyways. Talking about kyber crystals, it was never explicitly stated, but a lot of fans speculated that Starkiller Base in The Force Awakens was actually the planet Ilum. Ilum is the planet that Jedi take trainees to go build their lightsabers because the planet is rich in kyber crystals. Jedi Fallen Order pretty much confirms that because there is a massive trench going across Ilum when Cal Kestis goes there to get a kyber crystal for his new lightsaber. So Starkiller Base was turned into a super weapon, and it's kind of a massive fuck you to the legacy of the Jedi that the First Order built a super weapon out of what used to be a sacred holy planet for the Jedi.
But they likely took that planet, made it into the Starkiller Base.
They straight up did. They hollowed it out and everything.
What does that mean, though? Like, does that mean, can they still make fucking lightsabers in the future?
Yeah, kyber crystals are around all the planets. Ilum was used because it was heavily rich in its, and because of its harsh environment. You know, monks like to train in harsh environments, so they would take these kids and trainees to Ilum, train and meditate, and they learn how to make a lightsaber there.
Okay, so we all agree that it's better that the Rebel Alliance have control over the Senate. What are they called when they are in charge? They're obviously not rebels.
The new Republic.
The New Republic's better than the Empire, right?
See.
There's levels to that. They're horribly incompetent because they demilitarized the Republic out of fear that it would turn into the Empire once again. But this demilitarization is also why they had a trouble dealing with the First Order and relied on resistance groups to fight as a proxy for them, essentially.
Oh, that's stupid. Yeah, they should have kept their militarization, especially if, aren't they in charge of the whole fucking universe?
They're in charge of most of the galaxy. But yeah, that's just what happens when you have a bunch of liberals in power.
Oh, you're right. It's the galaxy, not the universe.
Yeah, that's whole like political thing. It's like, oh, it's peacetime. We don't need a military. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course we do.
Well, it's not necessarily just because it's peacetime. It's because they know having access to a military would lead to people abusing said military for political ambitions.
What I think is ironic is that when the Empire is in command, there's a whole Rebel Alliance fighting them. So why would they think that when they're in command, there's no Rebel Alliances trying to stop them?
Because the natural problem of being or perceiving yourselves as the good guys is you can't possibly fathom why anyone would disagree with you. Because it turns out there's plenty of people that liked the Empire's rule and wanted to keep it that way. Because the Empire existed for 19 years for one reason, and that's because a lot of people were totally fine with it.
I did see some YouTube videos on how the Empire did establish order and and
Let's go!
how things
Let's
were
hear it, let's
slightly
hear it.
better.
This guy's gone to Reddit/r. The Empire did nothing wrong.
Let's hear it. Let's
It was
hear
just it was just like a YouTube, like I don't know who exactly it was, but they're like the good things the Empire did. I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Okay, this guy's
Yeah.
cooking.
This had to be a fucking satire.
No, they're like, oh, like no, they did establish order.
There was
in
no
certain
war
districts.
because they killed everyone else. There is no war in Boston, say.
Nobody acted up because they had established, like, oh, you want to fuck around and talk about free speech? Bam. Oh, you want to fucking, you have rights? Bam. So that's where that was the gist of the YouTube video. It was kind of
How
funny.
the Empire committed genocide against the Geonosians to keep the Death Star project secret.
True. Also, they established their evil early on because they had that she's in a labor camp, and it's like, who, obviously only bad guys have labor camps. They have like all the tropes of just a bad group of people.
So that's why I wanted to preface. I'll let you talk, PapaNasty. Just let me get this out of the way. I wanted to preface this that Star Wars is inherently political commentary. So it's funny when people are like, I hate when they talk about politics in Star Wars. Now let me go watch this movie about rebels fighting an authoritarian regime about fascism and shit like that. Like, bro, this is the most thinly veiled piece of political commentary you'll ever see in theaters, I guarantee you. Anyways.
Yeah, Mom and S is like, why do they remind me of like Nazis? I'm like,
They're explicitly based on Nazis.
we've watched so many
Yeah.
Star Wars movies. What are you talking about? Like, yeah, that's how they kind of all are. And she's like, oh yeah, and you know, I got so mad, I hit her, sent her to her room, and then then we made up for it. But I was like, why do you make me do this?
Sounds like some Darth Vader ass shit, dude.
Okay, Mr. Red background with the fucking bullshit little taco
Are
back there.
you gonna choke her during pregnancy, you piece of shit?
I'm gonna fucking choke you, Eric. Fucking.
A word from our sponsors. That's right, the Empire. Yeah, so what have you been doing for your community lately? Haven't you wanted to don a completely white suit that has no peripheral vision and go out and shoot a bunch of poor farmers? That could be you. That's right. Either you do it or you're going to be poor and we're going to put you in a labor camp. So manifest destiny. You know what they say? You gotta do it.
Beautiful words.
What do you got, PapaNasty? As our chairman of Empire strikes you right here in the heart.
These Jedi piece of shits, they ruined the Republic. That's why we had to form the Empire. And under...
This ad brought to you by Emperor
I
Palpatine.
know, exactly.
Yeah, and thanks to Palpatine, we will make the Republic great again.
The galaxy will be great.
The galaxy will be great again. There it is.
That reminds me how on our Empire did nothing wrong. It was like, it's a long-standing satire that they basically preface, like, they use typical American statements, but just replace it with the Empire. Some, like, they called the Death Star the Freedom Star or some shit like that, or whatever.
That's great.
But it's mostly a satire sub about how, like, American imperialism is just like, we're fighting for democracy by subjugating other countries and stuff like that. But instead, we replace it with empire and planets.
Now let's make this podcast entertaining. Fuck the politics of Star Wars. Let's talk about the cool fucking powers. There's a few interesting things. The one thing I realized that they have to do in this is no one's allowed to be super overpowered in Star Wars, except for maybe Darth Vader. But they really have to hold back all the time. It just seems that way.
Or that guy with a fucking walking turret gun. Like, we're just going to call this the fucking Rogue One talk.
No,
We're not
okay.
doing
Okay, why didn't everyone have a turret gun? Because that pissed me off.
He was murking.
That guy was like 2 times bigger than everyone else. He's clearly physically stronger than most soldiers.
Okay, it's not the future where they can fucking have a stand they could put it on and stick it down real quick, and they could pull the old Sheila from Apex Legends.
That's what makes him, like, better than your average warrior, was that he actually can carry that bullshit. But yeah, he was like the Samoan badass dude with the machine gun.
He was also a monk like Chirrut, except he renounced his faith to the Force. That's why he's always hanging around with him. Like, they're both monks. He's just a monk that picked up a gun instead.
Were they?
Respect.
Yeah, they were like, brother in arms, brother in prayers.
They're both monks. So I wanted to make note of this actually because it's another lore dumb bullshit thing. So Andor mentions to Jin that those two guys, Chirrut and Baze, are members of the Guardians of the Wills, And basically, they're a bunch of Force-sensitive monks, but they are not trained in the Force. So they are sensitive to it, but they cannot wield it like a Jedi and like do cool tricks and shit.
Yeah. That's cool, though.
But anyways, the Wills, though. So in George Lucas's original draft of Star Wars, he mentions this alien race called the Wills, who are cataloging the history of the Star Wars universe, which is why every single story or every single movie starts with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, is because in George Lucas's script, R2-D2 is recounting the history of the Star Wars universe to the Wills, who are cataloging this stuff, which is why every movie is prefaced with a long time ago, because R2-D2 is telling this story. So the mention of these guys being the Guardians of the Wills means the Wills are canon, and yeah, they're just a Force-sensitive monastery thing. Yeah.
Do you think the Wills know that Eric's a dirtbag? Asking for a friend.
Probably. The Force reveals a lot
exactly
to those who are willing to listen.
It's written. It's part of my character development arc. Wait, so what the fuck? R2-D2?
Appreciate it, Abel.
Is that the whole thing? That's a whole. I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the far, far future, after everything is all said and done, R2-D2 is still online, and because he's never had his memory wiped, the Wills are having R2-D2 recount and catalog the history of the universe.
And the Wills are in a different galaxy?
Or they're just in the far future of the galaxy.
Well, because what's the line specifically?
Or the present, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, so where did they fucking end up if they're not? Okay, so I see what you're saying.
Well, at least in Ahsoka, they show travel to another galaxy.
Whoa. What's that like? What the heck?
We don't really see too much because the season ends right around there, but the implication is that the Night Sisters of Dathomir came from another galaxy. And they practice the dark side in a weird way that it's almost like witchcraft.
Cool.
Yeah. No, in the Clone Wars, they reanimate their dead sisters like fucking zombies and shit. It's like all this macabre shit. Darth Maul was a member of the Night Sisters. He was a Night Brother.
A brother? Oh, okay, all right.
And they're also a matriarchy in which like their head, the women rule society and their leader's a witch and stuff, and the men are like slaves essentially.
Can I sign up?
Yeah, you're only really used for breeding and fighting.
Yeah, let's go! Those are my two favorite things! Woo!
The reason why Darth Maul was an apprentice to Sidious is because Sidious basically bought him.
Oh, never mind. Oh.
Well, he was the best of the best. That's why, right?
He was the best.
Yeah,
Darth Maul, yeah.
You don't get a name like Darth Maul without fucking mauling some people. And mauling that pussy! Let's go!
Yeah, his brother's name was Savage.
Well, he got the name Darth Maul because he joined Sith.
His name was actually Maul.
But Maul because of his savage nature, also how he is.
Is it because as a moody teenager he would go to Spencer's and Hot Topic and roam the mall?
I mean, have you seen his tats?
Oh, you're right, not wrong. He looks like he hangs out at Hot Topics. If we want to reel it into more of, I love this like general talk of Star Wars as a whole, because how can you avoid any of that? What sets this movie apart from all of the other movies? It definitely is more of a war story. And guys, we are spoiling this because let's say right here, right now, it doesn't have a happy ending. It has a good ending.
The movie doesn't, but the story as a whole more or less does.
Exactly. Ultimately, it works out to their benefit. These guys sacrifice themselves to make sure that the rebels
Rebellions
actually
are built on hope.
Yeah, they actually had a chance.
Is it interesting that you really don't catch feelings for these characters? Like at the end, when everything goes down the way it does, you're just kind of like, fuck, that's sad. But for the most part, like I don't know. I felt sad for Jin and Cassian, mostly because yes, those characters okay.
I was specifically empathizing with the idea of like, just imagine being stuck on this planet knowing you're gonna fucking die because you have no way out, and so all you have to do is just resign yourself to your fate and hope that it's all going to work out. Like, I can't even imagine what their final thoughts were.
Well, that's the gist of this film. It's hope. It's putting your hope into something.
Yeah,
but
rebellions are built on hope.
I hope that the next movie's better. You know what I'm saying?
It won't be because I'm the one picking it.
God damn it. You piece of shit. Oh my god. My beard fell off.
Since we've been going on tangent after tangent, I'll just get like a general synopsis out of the way real quick. Our protagonist, Jyn Erso, is the daughter of the man who is instrumental to the construction of the Death Star. And the entire movie is about how the rebels eventually get a hold of the secret plans that Galen Erso made to show how to
Shut up,
destroy the
Eric.
Death Star.
God damn it.
Sorry, he's dying over there. Distracting me.
Oh man.
All right, Abel boy, what you were trying to talk about? You were trying to talk about the plans for the Death Star in the first
I
place.
was trying to get the general synopsis out of the way because we're hopping all over the place.
Yeah, give it one more go. Give it one more go, Mister Papa Giggles over here.
Okay,
You're fucking.
Papa Giggles. Oh,
Yes.
that sounds like Uncle
That is-
Touchy. I almost killed Eric right now.
We're on bad timing, dude. Right when I took a sip, too. God damn it.
Oh my god.
If you had to pick one character to have survived, who would it be? Go.
I would say either Jin or Cassian, honestly.
All right.
Either of them.
Who do you got, PapaNasty?
I think Jin.
Oh, okay. I respect it. What about what's his name? K2SO?
K2SO, droid,
Yeah, that dude was quippy.
Alan Tudyk.
Imagine what if, dude, he could kick fucking C-3PO's ass. CP3O?
Yeah, it's because he's an Imperial security droid.
Yeah.
You remember fighting those guys in Fallen Order? They kick ass.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude, he would fist C-3PO. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Dude, light work, man. He would crush him. Yeah, I loved him too. I just loved how fucking obnoxious he was.
I love when he clotheslined Jin when she tried to escape at the beginning. You are being rescued.
Do not resist. That is the greatest shit ever. That shit got me going, man.
There used to be Eric West's line at the clubs. The ladies. Pew, 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 pew.
Do not resist.
You are being rescued. Do not resist. That kind of put me in a position too where I'm like, how are the rebels any fucking different than the Empire at that point? Because all right,
That's something I wanted to talk about.
Thank you for saving me from a labor camp, but now I'm indebted to you, and you're basically saying that if I don't help you, you're just gonna get me arrested.
But also, she's with the lowest of the low. She's kind of like a piece of shit herself. Like, she's fucking around. She's getting fucking.
He's a drifter.
Yeah, she could be quiet. She could just be chilling. But what is she doing? She's getting to know. She's up to no good. You know, they're doing the scared straight on her. They're trying to fucking reform her, get her back in society, maybe get her some. You know.
All right. You're trying to tell me that she, might not have been a great individual, but damn, did she have a great ass? When right there at
God
the end,
damn it.
It brought me right back into the movie when she was running around trying to grab that damn, trying to grab the
Felicity
the
Jones,
plans.
everyone.
Yeah, she really did. It was cute. Okay, I'm not trying to sexualize her. She had a cute little
You
perky
just
booty.
did. Look at her. Well, the good thing about her too is you can grab her by the two front teeth and just like hold on. That's fine.
Oh no, we're sorry. All right, if you wanted to be on the pod now, lady, but
So PapaNasty mentioned it, and I wanted to talk about it because it was a great point.
I think what he was trying to say is that he was trying to say that she loves carrots. All right. Anyways, my bad. Go ahead.
So PapaNasty was saying how like the movie kind of paints the rebels as not being that much better than the Empire, and that's something I wanted to also add on to. Is the movie addresses the moral ambiguity of naturally how resistance groups be. One side is never quite morally better than the other. Both sides get their hands dirty, and we kind of see that in Andor's introduction scene when he's talking to his informant, and then the stormtroopers show up. Andor quickly dispatches them, but now he's got a loose end, so then he shoots his freaking informant in the back. And normally up to this point, the rebellion has been typically depicted as like, oh, they're these good guys who always do the right thing and stuff, and then we just watch this guy murder someone in cold blood. Because naturally, in real life, resistance groups kind of have to keep things quiet because, don't necessarily have the resources to get away cleanly like the Imperials do.
Oh, and then Cassian's whole character was also like that, right? Am I doing this right?
Yeah, he's the kind who gets his hands dirty. He knows he's done terrible things and stuff, and he alludes to it when he talks to Jin about it.
And he's done horrible things for the rebels alongside. Yeah, like he openly state like he did bad things for the rebels? Because at first I thought he was an Empire defector as well, which a few of those guys were. But I think he did bad shit for the rebels.
Yeah, as the TV show Andor showed with his backstory, this guy has basically been a rebel his entire life ever since he was 6 years old, as he explicitly stated. Except back then on his planet, he was like fighting the Confederacy or the Republic at that time. But now the Empire has risen, so now his life is now spent fighting the Empire. So this guy's never known peace his entire life. He's always been a freedom fighter. And he only just joined the rebellion probably just a couple of years prior to the movie.
Oh, damn.
Oh, okay, I can see that, yeah. He's more charming than... Oh, but of course, this movie's a little bit more gritty, but he's more charming than the pilot guy from Force Awakens.
Oh, Poe?
Yeah. Once again, Andor could kick Poe's ass.
That would be a great pull right there.
There it is. Okay, that's the
Death
pull.
battles, where you at?
Where are you at? Come on, let's see it. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so her dad was a scientist for the Empire. What do you think about that? Do you think he knew better? Do you think he was doing the whole just like following
He knew better.
orders?
That's why he quit initially.
Well, especially once he understood that they were building a planet destroyer.
So it's kind of prefaced a little bit in the opening scene when Krennic comes to pick him up. So Galen Erso, played by Maz Mikkelsen, love the actor, great guy. He retired to a farm on some isolated planet somewhere to get as far away from the Empire as possible with his family, and then Krennic shows up on his doorstep, ready to force him back to work because we don't do remote work out here in Star Wars. And he explicitly says, the project is stalled, I need you to come back. So he's straight up saying to Galen that he's the only person smart enough to make the Death Star work, and I need you to come back and make sure the thing is operable. And Galen kind of doesn't want to do it, but his Krennic kind of forces his hands. He kills his wife and threatens to kill his daughter and takes him hostage.
Bro, his wife should have took the shot.
Yeah.
She had every opportunity to, and she waited until he shot.
Yeah, arc words, he'll never win. They say that multiple times throughout the movie, and they were right. Krennic doesn't win. But anyways, so Galen is instrumental in making the Death Star's super laser work, I believe. And because he knew he could never outright defy the Empire, in his message to Jyn, he says that he eventually learned to lie, and he just played the role of the indispensable soldier. He made himself useful, but while he did so, he secretly sabotaged the Death Star in a way that they would never notice. So the problem with the Death Star, a lot of people like to poke fun at it, is like, oh, they have a giant hole that you can shoot into, and then boom, it blows up. Like, well, the flaw wasn't the hole. The flaw was he designed the reactor in a way that if anything were to blow up in the reactor, it would cause the entire station to blow up like a fucking, I don't know, the Hindenburg.
Yeah. Good comparison. Holy shit, nice.
It is interesting though. Now thinking about it, it's like he could have made it so that the calculations are off when it does start absorbing and getting ready to fire off. If he really did want to stop the whole thing, he could have just made like a bomb at that point, like make the calculations just off. So when it does absorb all that stuff, it can't output it, and instead it explodes. That could have been another way instead of having to go through all the effort of making a precise.
But it would have to be something. So, I mean, once again, we don't know how any of this works out because it is fiction, but
yeah,
it's a highly impractical weapon.
There's other scientists observing everything. So he had to be so good at what he did. He had to do something so subtle that they would not have realized. Like if it was an obvious catalyst of absorbing energy, then it causes the whole place to explode, might be too obvious.
Yeah, they would have picked that up.
But if it was a foreign object that, wasn't originally in the like algorithm or whatever, they could never have assumed if a blast was in there, it would cause the whole place to blow up. But also, it's not that kind of movie, bud.
Beautiful, Eric. Beautiful.
I was going to say it, but I held off.
I want to see if you would defend the film, and the fact that you did. That shows me that you do have some love for it, so I appreciate it.
What I really did appreciate though was her dad. Her dad had a government job. He was trying to get those fucking benefits, bro. He had a 401k. Dude threw that all away because he had a daughter and he felt bad for the universe. What a dumbass! Come on. He went and became a farmer instead. What, he had to give up? He gave up all of his PTO. He gave up all of his fucking vacation days for that. That's crazy.
I think he believed the idea of the Empire and what they said they were about, but then when he started seeing how they actually were, that's what made him change.
The labor camps are one thing, but when you wanted to start blowing up planets, whoa.
Yeah. I'm all for a labor camp. When you want to, yeah.
Yeah, what a piece of shit, dude.
I mean, in real life, a lot of people that supported the Nazis just kind of like turned a blind eye to the things the Nazis were doing, like, where did you think they were taking all your, like, Jewish neighbors and stuff? Like, you really think they were relocating them? Where do you think they actually went?
Well, they hid that, but also we did that.
Ignorance is bliss type of mentality, out of sight, out of mind.
Well, different times they didn't have internet.
So Galen probably didn't turn against the Empire until he realized the destructive power of the Death Star and what his role in the machine was, and he was like, I can't do this. I know what this thing will be used for.
We also did it to the Japanese, though. The Japanese citizens that were here, we put
Oppenheimer.
we put them in fucking some of our own.
Urso was literally Oppenheimer.
Eric's people put them in. I'm just kidding.
I like that Luke Skywalker. This is just something I was thinking about. It's like Luke Skywalker literally showed up and was like, "Don't come to the Death Star tomorrow."
Yeah.
Whoa, dude, chill.
That's
That's,
so
crazy. Whatever else we're planning on talking about the actual plot, though, got to speed run it, guys. So tell me anything that comes to mind that you actually care about in this film. We broke down a couple of the characters. The woman who was the leader of the rebel was such an insignificant character no one cared about. So just heads up, like she's no Leia.
She's actually very important in the grander scale of things, but she doesn't get like a lot of spotlight in the movies.
Yeah, exactly.
I love how the whole film was like, we got to go see Saw Gerrera. We got to go talk to the pilot. And he fucking dies after what, fucking 15 minutes of screen time?
I wanted to talk about Saw real quick.
He looks so fucking cool, and he just dies that quickly. That to me.
He's tired. That man's been fighting for 20 years of his fucking life, and now he's a shell of a man who's quite literally like Darth Vader. He's more than machine than man at this point. Like, what is there left to live for him at this point?
Would we call him he is a foil for Darth Vader in a way?
Yep, it's a kind of explicit, the way he's like mostly machine. He has a fucking respirator.
Yeah, but not as cool as Darth Vader.
Not as cool.
I think he's cool. I think he's cool as fuck. Don't get me wrong.
No, he was that's the problem, that he was hyped up during the fucking trailers and all that stuff. He was hyped up to be like this cool character.
He was hyped up because he was trying to get the Clone Wars viewership in there. He's a Clone Wars character.
Yeah, and then just for that fucking little bit of like screen time, it was very
He doesn't have the Force, right?
No, he's just a freedom fighter.
That makes him cool as fuck, though.
Well,
if he's the rebel version, of Darth Vader and he doesn't have the Force, that kind of makes him a badass.
But we don't see him do Darth Vader shit that makes him show he's a badass. That's the problem, is that he looks like it, and we're like, we're gonna get a little something, and then it's like, oh no, he's just gonna fucking die with the island. You're like, what? What is that? That was one part where I'm like, God damn it, Rogue One.
I'm not gonna say I disagree. Yeah, he kind of did nothing. He's just simply there to connect Jin to the grander scale of the rebellion. So what I wanted to talk about Saw is a little backstory for those unaware. Saw Gerrera was first introduced in the Clone Wars animated series. He was second in command to this small rebellion on a planet that was fighting the Confederacy of Independent Systems at the time, and they were supported by the Republic. Following the Republic's turn into the Empire, Saw then turned his little ragtag group of misfits against the Empire, because now the Empire were their oppressors instead of the Confederacy. And since the Clone Wars and the 19-year gap between Episode 5 and Rogue One, this man has spent a good portion of about 20 odd years just fighting. And after some point, he basically became more a violent anarchist rather than a freedom fighter, because his rebellion has no grand objective, or they're not necessarily fighting for anything. They're just fighting to be a thorn in the Empire's side, which often becomes at the expense of the actual rebellion, because his efforts cause the Empire to put the hammer down hard on all his supposed allies, which is why the other rebels are distrusting of him, and he's a paranoid freak, as we saw.
Cool. What's with the alien? What's with the hentai thing?
It was some kind of brainwashing torture thing.
Cool.
They refer to him as an extremist.
Yeah. And to those who haven't seen Andor, he is also just like that in the TV show Andor, where he's paranoid, he thinks everyone's out to get him, and only trusts a handful of people.
Do you think Skeleton Crew's gonna be any good?
I heard it's good, actually. I haven't watched it yet.
Where does it sit in all the timelines?
Ooh, good
I haven't
question.
checked yet. One thing I also wanted to add about Saw Gerrera is he seems to be explicitly be based on famous communist / freedom fighter Che Guevara.
Che Guevara.
Especially with his name. Saw Gerrera, Che Guevara. And both of them were kind of
Hot tomato.
extremists that...
Okay.
They were kind of both extremists that were more on the violent end of revolutionaries.
Was that the Cuban dude?
He wasn't Cuban, but he did fight in Cuba. I forgot where he's from. It was somewhere in South America. but he was eventually caught and executed by a regime.
Was that the one that Mike Tyson has him like on his side? Is it that guy?
Maybe it's the guy who has like the cap, the long hair, and he's always like in the pictures.
I thought he was a piece of shit. I didn't think I thought he was not a good guy.
That's what people probably say about Saw Gerrera when they don't fucking watch the whole goddamn Clone Wars. Yeah, if I was a rebel and I was trying to have a whole ass plan, and then Saw Gerrera came in guns blazing, I'm like, that guy's a piece of shit. Fuck him. And then Mike Tyson comes out with him tattooed on his side. I'm like, I don't trust that guy at all.
No, that's the thing. Is like more often than not, Saw made things worse whenever he showed up. That's kind of a thing.
Yeah. White boy.
All right, what else you got there, PapaNasty? We ain't got much time left. What do you got to get off your chest?
Man, just the fucking... I did not like the fact that everybody just died so just easily. Like, towards the end, instead of them, like, making them, like, die sporadically, the fact that it was just, like, a fucking, like, time clock, like, boom, 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 all these characters just died the way they did. It was kind of annoying, but it also was one of those, I did kind of see it coming, like, okay, what's the purpose of this? Like, they're not going to get out of this. We have not seen them in recent films. There's going to be no connection. So I kind of saw it coming when it first came out, but yeah, I guess that was like my only complaint about the film.
I like it. I like at the end, the robot doesn't say you have a 33% chance of living. He says you're only going to get 33% of the way through this, and you're all going to die. It's like, oh, they kind of fucked his numbers up a little bit by, with the power of the plot or whatever. But I do like I love that general concept though. Is that he was not giving them a probability of living. He was literally saying you're all gonna die here, but let's see if you accomplish your goal, and they did.
So one thing I wanted to add about PapaNasty's thing is I totally get that. So the thing, it's also kind of pseudo-realistic in that, like, most people don't go out and die in blazes of glory. A lot of them just die. That's just how war is. And another thing is they all showed up on Scarif knowing this is going to be a losing battle. A lot of them will probably not come back. This is one of the Empire's most heavily guarded-installations in the entire galaxy because it's where they archive everything of value.
And there was originally just 10 people who were going until the rest of the rebels showed up to help.
Yeah, because once they caught on the horn that they actually successfully infiltrated the planet, like, well, we got to go back them up, man. And so the cavalry fucking shows up and shit, which was quite awesome. It's probably one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Like, how they wrote the deaths was more about plot convenience than like actually like having them die sporadically through the film. I think that could have been better because legit, I think if, like, the three characters die within like the first fucking 15 minutes of each other, when you could have spread that out, I'm like, like it was just weird. I don't know. It wasn't a big deal, but just to me, that's the one thing that like bugged me a bit. That could have been done a little bit.
So one thing I was trying to build up to is I wanted to lead up to how eventually Tarkin rolls up with the Death Star and Darth Vader and blows up the installation with the Death Star laser. And the funniest thing is, like, that wasn't even necessary. At the point that he finally showed up, the battle was almost over. Almost all the rebels were taken care of. And then this dude rolls up with the Death Star, blows up the Scarif base, and funny enough, ironically, kills Krennic with it. That's one of my favorite things is, like, Krennic got killed by his own super weapon.
Exactly.
And he watched it happen. You could, like, see the glow of the green laser in his eyes as he's looking up at it. You'll never win. And he didn't. The dude was a fucking joke. You touched on it earlier. I wanted to talk about that. So you're talking about how earlier you're like, so this guy's in charge, but then this guy's in charge. And so, like, what's really going on here and all that shit?
Yeah.
So the way it's working is, Lord Ump, Krennic is in charge of the Death Star project. He's overseeing the construction of the weapon and is in charge of everything to do with it. Tarkin is essentially a high-ranking governor. He answers to the Emperor specifically, and only to the Emperor. So he oversees all the military projects that the Empire is overseeing. And so he's basically Krennic's boss.
And then Darth Vader is everyone's fucking boss. He comes around, he says you do something.
He's a wild card, actually. He actually is subservient to Tarkin.
Yep.
But he's treated more like an equal.
Yep.
He has no actual place in the hierarchy. He just answers directly to the Emperor, but he is also under orders to obey any high-ranking admiral or Moff in the hierarchy.
And he can't kill Tarkin, or he can't fuck with him either. He can't, like, do force choke. He's the one he can't, like, Nope, you can't touch him.
But I want to. I have this respirator, and
But
my
you
son,
can't.
he hates me, and I always want to choke him really bad. No, now put your mask back on. You sound ridiculous. Okay, all right. Now I'm cool again. I'm Darth Vader.
Close.
To finish my point, and so Tarkin oversees most of the military projects. Krennic is specifically in charge of the Death Star, and the scumbag thing that Tarkin does is, once the Death Star actually proves to work, then he just says, fuck you, Krennic, I'm in charge of this project now, you're out. And that's why Krennic later goes begging and groveling to Vader, like, hey, the Emperor said I'm in charge of the project, am I in charge or not? And that's when he hits him with, don't choke on your aspirations, director.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, like, after that, like, as he's watching Vader walk away, he kind of grins because, hey, he choked me out, but he did tell me I'm still in charge.
Exactly.
Because he refers to him as director.
There we go. He's cooking, dude. And that is fucking Star Wars World Gone with a lot of información. I don't know if you got anything else to spit out, PapaNasty. We are at the end of our time if you want to start doing all the big questions.
Well, all right, Eric. Abel, do y'all vouch for me?
Of course.
Yeah, I vouch for you. This is a good Star Wars movie. This is better than plenty of the other ones.
Okay.
I did want to add one little thing, just one tiny little tidbit. I remember when I first saw the movie in theaters, I thought it was really awesome when the rebels show up in the final battle and stuff, and they recut like dialogue and some scenes from the original Star Wars movie to tie in like the other squadrons showing up. They had Red and Gold Squadron showed up and used archive footage for that shit. And apparently I learned this later. The reason why that mustache cool looking dude who flies the X-Wing, leader of Blue Squadron, apparently initially in Star Wars, George Lucas planned on them being like Blue and Red Squadron or something like that, but they didn't quite show up right when they were doing the special effects, the color blue. And so they replaced them with Gold Squadron. And so in this movie, they have Blue Squadron there all along, and they're all killed off in the Battle of Scarif, which is why Blue Squadron does not show up in the original movie.
There we go. That's pretty fucking good. That's good trivia.
Yeah. No, I had to get that in there.
Watch, marry, kill.
Kill, murder
Oh,
it,
Mary.
fucking.
Eric would fire the Death Star laser at it.
I would never watch this movie again. I'd kill it. But yeah, we gotta marry, we gotta kill. I love the controversy. That's like that's the fun part about it all.
I said Mary. I have it on fucking Blu-ray.
There we go.
We should probably sign off.
It is about to sign off, guys. We are at 1 hour, 8 minutes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Alex. Like, comment, subscribe. If you guys haven't hopped on Spotify yet and left us a 5-star review, that'd be fucking incredible. And we're going to keep it coming. We're going to keep it working. We have another pod in the works we might have already talked about. And we're just going to keep picking films we like and keep pushing them out with these goofballs, with these guys I like. I like these guys.
All right, guys.
Have a good night.
I'm Abel.
Love you.
Bye, 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 bye.